Just wait until you hear what you have to do to get the world's most coveted handbag. Hi there, everyone. It's Jeff, and this is Plain English. Here at Plain English, we help you upgrade your skills in English with stories about current events and trending topics. This is episode number 714. JR, the producer, has uploaded the full episode resources to plainenglish.com/714. That includes the transcripts, translations, fast audio, exercises, and more. plainenglish.com/714. Now, you listen every Monday and Thursday, so you know how this goes. We have two parts to the episode. The first part is the story. The second part is the expression. The story today is about the Birkin handbag. The price? About $12,000 for a starter model. But the true cost is far higher. You'll learn about that today, and then in the second half of the episode, you'll learn how to use the English expression deal with. This is a very, very important phrasal verb. I'm really surprised we made it 714 episodes without talking about this one. You need to keep listening, and you need to start using deal with in your day today. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. For $10,000, you could buy a used car. For $200,000, a starter home in some places. Or, with that same money, you could own a single handbag, the Birkin by Hermes. Even if you're not a fashionista, you may recognize the Birkin from pop culture. It was a major plotline in an episode of Sex and the City, where Samantha was placed on a 5-year waiting list for a bag. It's also been on Gossip Girl, How I Met Your Mother, and Will and Grace. Will is on a 2-year waiting list. Rappers like Jay-Z, Drake, and Cardi B reference the bag in their songs. Celebrities are photographed with their Birkins all the time. What is the Birkin? The Birkin is possibly the world's most coveted handbag, and part of its appeal is its origin story. The Birkin has been around since the 1980s. It's named after Jane Birkin, a British actress. She found herself sitting next to an executive from Hermes on a flight, and she told him about a problem she was having. She said she wanted a stylish designer handbag that was also practical and well made, but she had a hard time finding one that she liked. So On the flight, Birkin and the Hermes executive sketched out a design together, and Hermes made the bag. It became a hit, and today the bag, ironically, is far more popular than the actress it's named after. Birkin bags come in a variety of sizes, from 25 to 40 centimeters, and a variety of materials. The exterior might be leather, lizard, ostrich, or even crocodile skin. The interior is made of goat skin. The hardware, the metal pieces, are often plated in gold or palladium. Some bags come with hardware encrusted with diamonds. The silhouette is always the same, but each season Hermes releases a new version with new colors, patterns, or materials. Each bag is made by a single craftsperson. Any employee who wants to work on a Birkin has to train at Hermes for 5 years to learn the skills needed to construct one. Every stitch is done by hand, and the level of attention to detail ensures that each bag is unique. Demand far outstrips supply. Hermes could never make enough to satisfy everyone, and they probably wouldn't want to. So that means 2 things. First, Hermes can charge a lot of money for the bag. And second, the brand has enormous power to decide who even has the right to purchase one. So let's talk about how you can get your hands on a Birkin bag. First of all, an entry-level Birkin bag costs about $12,000. That's the smallest size and without the truly exotic materials. $12,000. So let's say you're ready to spend that money and get yourself a Birkin. If you think you can just log on to the Hermes website or walk into a store and buy one, think again. Hermes doesn't sell these bags online, and they don't keep them on the shelves. If you go into a store and ask to see one, they probably won't show it to you. If you want a Birkin bag, you have to play the Hermes game, as customers say, and the game can take years. The Hermes game starts with building a relationship with a sales assistant, a worker in the store. Here's what it means to build a relationship. You have to visit the store frequently, often with an appointment. You have to get to know one sales assistant on a personal level. You have to educate yourself about the brand, the history, the craftsmanship, the product lines. You have to establish a buying history with your sales assistant. This is called pre-spend in the industry. It's like obtaining a credit history just with this one store. How much do you need to spend at Hermes before you get offered a Birkin bag? There's no way to know for sure. The company would never say publicly. But some customers say the minimum spend is $10,000. That's $10,000 you have to spend on other items like scarves, watches, shoes, and jewelry just to be invited to buy a standard Birkin. If you want one of the rare designs, you might need to spend $200,000 with your sales assistant. The sales assistants are key because they are the gatekeepers to new bags. When Hermès releases new bags, it sends them to the stores. And when a store gets a shipment, the store manager gives the sales assistants a quota of bags. And the sales assistants look at their list of clients and they decide who gets the chance to buy a Birkin. When offered, customers don't often turn down the opportunity to buy one, especially not their first one. If the bag they're offered isn't their preferred style, they buy it anyway for fear of appearing ungrateful. They want to continue to be top of mind in case their preferred design is available in the future. So the true cost of a Birkin bag is much higher than the price Hermès charges. All those other purchases add up, and then there's the weight. If all this sounds like too much effort, you do have another option, and that is the secondary market. In the secondary market, customers buy bags from people other than Hermès itself. The main players are auction houses like Sotheby's or independent dealers like Madison Avenue Couture. But be prepared to pay up. The bags in the best condition can cost multiple times the retail price. A pristine, never used Birkin with original packaging can fetch well above retail, sometimes over $100,000. Now you might be tempted to save money and buy it from someone on Instagram. But buyer beware, there are a lot of well-made counterfeits out there. That's why the safest option is to buy from reputable dealers who authenticate their inventory. But getting a Birkin, many customers say, is worth it. If you have the money and you can do it, it's worth it. The Birkin is a stylish, well-made bag. It turns heads. It draws attention. It's a status symbol. It puts you in the company of celebrities, athletes, musicians, artists, and government leaders. For some people, though, just one Birkin isn't enough. Victoria Beckham, for example, owns around 100 Birkins, while a socialite in Singapore reportedly has as many as 200. Talk about a world I know nothing about. A couple facts for you here. The entry-level Birkin bags cost about $12,000 in the store, as I mentioned. Now, the cost to make the bag, wait until you hear this. The cost to make the bag is about $1,000. So Hermès sells it at a markup of over $1,000. 1,000%. If you buy a bag, maybe you're one of those people who were offered a bag you didn't really want, but you bought it anyway. You can sell it the same day to a reseller. So you can pay $12,000 in the store and the same day sell it to a dealer for $23,000 in cash. Just don't take it out of the plastic. The dealer can then sell it, if it's box fresh with the receipt, for $32,000. Yikes! All that for just one handbag. Deal with. Deal with is a phrasal verb that we use when something needs to be handled, managed, or faced head on. You can use this when you're solving a problem, confronting a difficult person, or focusing on a specific issue. You're dealing with it. If you take an action to address something, it could be a small task or a big challenge. You can say you're dealing with it. So I'm going to give you 3 ways to use deal with. The most common way we use deal with is when we're talking about handling or managing a situation. This could be anything from fixing a small issue at work to solving a big personal problem. For example, if your car's check engine light comes on, you might say, I need to deal with this before our next long road trip. Here is something that requires your attention. It requires you to take action. The check engine light comes on. This could be a big problem, a small problem, or no problem at all, but you have to deal with it. You have to take it to a mechanic and possibly have some work done. If a coworker says, I have a lot of emails to deal with, she simply means she has a lot of emails in her inbox, and they require her attention and her action. Now, many of us have tasks that we have to deal with, but we don't want to deal with them right now. So a really common thing to say is, I have to deal with this eventually. That means at some point in the future, I will have to turn my attention to this. Not yet, but at some point in the future. I can't ignore it forever. Here's a personal example. There's a piece of software I use for forms on plainenglish.com. Now, I'm not going to say the name of the company, but I'm trying to switch away from this company's software and go to their competitors. But this means I have to recreate and redesign all the forms on plainenglish.com, and there are a lot of them. I don't want to deal with this now, but I am going to have to deal with this eventually. Not everything is so pleasant. It's common to use deal with when you have to handle or manage an unpleasant situation. This might involve interacting with a difficult person or facing a tough issue directly. For example, if someone works in customer service, they might say, I had to deal with some angry customers today. Now, on an ordinary day, he might say he had to serve his customers. He might say he had to interact with his customers. But when it was really hard, uncomfortable even, he said he had to deal with angry customers. You might have to deal with a frustrating situation like bad weather or construction delays during a trip. In this case, you'd say something like, "We had to deal with bad weather and stop and go traffic the whole way." Now, on a normal day, you would have had a pleasant drive, but this was an unpleasant exception. You had to confront and handle difficult and uncomfortable circumstances. So you say, "We had to deal with bad weather. We had to deal with construction delays the whole way." There's one more way to use deal with, and it doesn't involve handling or confronting anything directly. Instead, it's about focusing on or involving a topic. For example, if an article or book deals with a certain subject, it means that the article or book covers or talks about that issue. Let's say you're reading an article on climate change. You might say, "This article deals with environmental policies of emerging economies." That means the article is about, or the article focuses on, environmental policies. You can use deal with lots of different types of media: a book, a report, an article, a speech, an interview, a movie, a documentary, a podcast episode. All these things can deal with a topic if they are about that topic. Have you ever seen the movie Marriage Story? It's really good. It's on Netflix, starring Scarlett Johansson. It deals with a couple going through a divorce. It deals with custody issues around their young son. It's about those topics. So those are your two meanings of deal with. First, it means to address or confront a challenge. I have to deal with all these emails. And second, you can use it if you're talking about some type of media. The report deals with the challenge of climate change. All right, so this was our last episode to deal with the topic of fashion for this month. So what did we do? First, we talked about finding the right size for you. That was episode 709. In 710, we talked about ties, whether men would wear ties to the office again. Last week, number 713, you heard about Abercrombie and Fitch, and today about the Birkin bag. So it's not like the whole month was about fashion, but it was a nice theme, and we'll be ready for a new collection of episodes, a new theme for the month of October as we turn the page tomorrow. Well, that's all for now. Remember, the full episode is at plainenglish.com/714. See you back here on Thursday. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word, and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.